Hello students, welcome back to Reading for Vocabulary. My name's Brian Stewart. We're on lesson 6 now and we are talking about all grown up. So we're talking about how a person grows up. What are the different steps or stages in a person's life? In this unit, we will focus on how do people grow and change. We'll find out that people grow and change from very many different stages or very many different steps. And the first step we're going to talk about, of course, when a person is very new, when a person is very young, they just came into the world, we say that they are what? A very young child, 0 to 1 year old. Oh, very cute, right? Oh, he's sleeping, right? Very cute. What do we call this person? We call this person a baby. Baby, right? 0 to 1 year old. 0 is interesting. In American age, when a baby is born, the first day, we say they're like 0 years old. They're just 1 day old. 2 days old, okay? Then we go to months. The baby is 3 months old, 6 months old, up to a year. But before they have been in the world for 1 year, we say that they are a baby. And by the way, baby, how do we say many babies? We say babies, I-E-S. So the Y changes to I-E, and then we put the S, babies. Babies. So one baby, many babies, right? Okay, so that's the first stage in a person's life. The first step or the first stage in a person's life. And we're talking about steps or stages in people's lives. The first step is baby. What's the next one? The next step is a child who is learning to walk. A child who is learning to walk from 1 to 3 years old. They are learning to walk. They can't walk very well yet. They're kind of going like this, right? They're learning to walk. They're like this. And when they do this, we say they're kind of like toddling, right? They are a toddler. Toddler is kind of the idea of, a baby wobbling, right? Like this. They're very careful. They don't walk very well. They're not like a mad robot, right? Maybe I'm not doing that right, but they're toddling, right? They're a toddler, a person who toddles, a person who doesn't walk very well yet. They're still learning. They're learning to walk. 1 to 3 years old, we call those people a toddler because they're learning how to walk. They haven't been able to walk well on their own yet. Before they walk, what do people do? Before they walk, like babies, they will crawl. Crawl is like this on all arms and legs. That's crawling. After crawling, people will walk. But when they're learning to walk, they are a toddler. Okay. A boy or girl between 3 and 12 years old. What do we call that person? We used that word actually on the previous slide when we talked about a toddler. Of course, we talk about that person. That person is a child. A child between 3 and 12 years old. Maybe some of you are between 3 and 12 years old. I don't think any of you are 3 years old. You don't understand me. But maybe if some of you are maybe 10 or 11 or even 12 years old, then you can be called a child. By the way, in English, what is the plural of children? If you have one child but many, do we say childs? No, don't say childs. Say children. Children, many children. At your school, there are many children. In your class, there are many children. Okay? So one child, many children. Now, after a person, after 12 years old, right? They become 13, 14, 15. They become one of these people, or in this stage. A boy or girl between 13 and 19 years old. 13 and 19 years old. So what do we call them? Of course, I'm saying it, teen, because 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. All of these words end in teen, right? So we say that these people are called teens. Now you might also call them teenagers. 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 That's another word for teens. Okay? Teenager or teenagers. Teen is the same word. Okay. Now, after the teenage years, right? This is quite a lot after. This a long time after. Okay? A man or a woman over 20. Because after 19, then they are 20. 19, then 20. 20 years old, that person is now what? What do we call those people? We call those people an adult. Adult. Adults are no longer children. They are no longer teens. They are adults. They are independent. They are responsible for themselves. They can make their own decisions. They don't depend on their parents anymore. They are independent. They are adults. A man or woman over 20 years old. Now, these are older adults, right? These are getting a little bit older than adults. And of course, you do have different stages in adults. You have young adult, middle-aged adult, or senior citizen. Let me write those down for you very quickly, just a little extra. Young adult, you can say a young adult, usually somebody who is in their 20s, young adult. Then after somebody gets to be about 40 years old, then you could say middle-aged. Middle-aged. Okay, let me see if middle, DD, that's a DD. M-I-D-D-L-E, age, that's an A. A-G-E-D, middle-aged. And after middle-aged, maybe around 60, after 60 years old, we can say senior citizen. Okay? But all of these people, all of them are adults. Okay? So you also have different stages in the adult stage. Okay, let's move on. To get bigger and taller. So we've just talked about baby, toddler, child, teen, and adult. This process, this change, what do we say? What's going on here? To get bigger. What's the verb we use? We use, of course, the verb grow. To grow. Somebody who gets bigger, right? They get bigger and they get taller as they go along. It's very interesting. The baby is so small. When you see babies, oh wow, they're so small. Their fingers and their toes are so small. But they get much bigger, right? They grow into a full adult. So they grow bigger and they grow taller. They grow. What are the different forms of the verb grow? Of course, we have grow, grew, grown, right? Grow, grew, grown. It's an irregular verb. You have to remember the different forms for the different verb tenses. Grow, grew, grown. Okay. Next we have, this is another verb, to rest with your eyes closed. At night, this is what you should do. Don't play computer games, right? Get in your bed and do this. What is this? Right? What are you doing? You need this, especially when you're growing. When you're young, you need a lot of this. What is this person doing? This person is sleeping. So she is sleeping. Get sleep. Go to bed. Get some sleep or go to sleep. Right? Sleep at night. What are the different verb forms of to sleep? We have sleep, slept, slept. So this is the same for past tense and present participle. Sleep, slept, slept. Sleep, slept, slept. Okay? That's another irregular verb. Sleep, slept, slept. To rest with your eyes closed. Usually we do it at night, but sometimes we do it during the day for a short time. If you sleep during the day for a short time, that is take a nap. Take a nap. That's a short sleep during the day. Take a nap. Maybe you're tired. Take a nap for 30 minutes or an hour. But at night, you sleep at least 8 hours. Usually people sleep for 8 hours. Some people less, some people more, right? But don't play video games all night. It's important to get some sleep. Okay. Now, to begin life, we're talking about a baby. Of course, the baby there's a point when the baby comes into the world. That is the time that the baby, we say, is beginning life. Of course, babies begin life in their mother's wombs, in their mother's bodies, but the moment the baby comes out into the world, we have a special verb for that. What do we say? We say to be born, to be born, to begin life. When were you born? When were you born? Okay, that's the very common question. When were you born? You could say, well, I was born in 1980 something, or I was born in 1980. Some of you might have been born in 2000 something, right? Maybe 2000 or 2001. When were you born? What year were you born? Okay, what year did you come into the world? Born. Okay, now this is a verb that we talked about before, actually, to go by moving your feet, right? Toddlers are learning how to do this. Toddlers, remember I talked about this, toddlers are learning how to do this. What is it? It is, of course, to walk. To walk, right? To move by moving your feet. Now, of course, walk, you could also say run, but run is to move fast or to go fast by moving your feet. To just go normally people walk, they don't run. So to go by moving your feet, you walk. Okay? If you go fast, that's run. Okay. To say things. So you're with your friends, right? And you say things to your friends. They say some things to you in return. So what are they doing? Of course, we say they are talking. To talk. Talk, talked, talked. Okay? Talk. To talk with people. Of course, talk is a regular verb, so we don't have to worry about the different forms, right? Talk, talked, talk. Okay, so these people are talking to say things to each other. Let's talk. Okay? Or they are talking to each other. Okay, what's our next word? Our next word is another verb. To, right? To make. To make pictures with a pen or pencil. You probably do this a lot. Even at school, you do this. What are you doing? You're making pictures, right? Maybe a house, people, or a landscape with trees, maybe fish or animals. But what are you doing? You're making pictures. You are drawing. To draw. To draw means to make pictures with a pen or pencil. Now, draw is not a regular verb. It's an irregular verb. So what are the different verb forms? What are the different forms of this verb? We have draw, drew, drawn. Draw, drew, drawn. So this verb, draw, drew, drawn. Okay, so to draw is to make pictures with a pen or a pencil. Also, you could, with those pens or pencils, that's drawing. If you use a paintbrush, then you're not drawing, you're painting. Okay, so that's different. Okay, paintbrush, that's painting, but pencil or pen, then you're drawing. Okay, that's an interesting point. Okay. Very nice to look at. Oh, look at this. Kyupchi, right? Kyupchi. A little cat is very, what? We say very cute. A cat is cute, of course, but not just a cat. There are many things that are cute. Like, for example, we're talking about babies. Babies are very cute, right? When they're not crying. If they're like, ah, that's not cute. But usually babies go, right? And they make the little faces. That's very cute, right? So we say very cute, very nice to look at. It's very nice to look at something that is cute. It's also very interesting, right? 재밌어요, right? But it's also very cute. 귀엽지요. Kyupchi? Yeah, kyupchi. Kyupchi, right? Oh, 귀여워요, right? That's very cute. Okay. Okay, let's match the words to their definitions. Okay, how well do you remember the words that we just studied? Let's go over the vocabulary. What we need to do is take these words in this box and match them to the definitions. What are the words? The words, we have many stages of a person's life. In fact, most of these words are words that have to do with a stage of a person's life. Only one word is not concerned with the stage of a person's life. Let's go over them. We have toddler, toddler, child, child, adult, adult, baby, baby, teen, teen. Those are all the words that have to do with the stage of a person's life. The one word that is not a stage of a person's life is this one, grow, grow. Okay, so let's put these words to match with their definitions. Okay, 0 to 1 year old. Of course, we're talking about a stage in a person's life. Remember, when somebody is newly born, they're just born. And before they are 1 year old, what do we call that person? We call that person a baby, a baby. Okay? That's the first stage in a person's life. Then we're moving on to the next stage, 1 to 3 years old, 1 to 3 years old. So after 1 year old and before or until 3 years old, right? In that time, what is that person doing? That person is learning how to walk. So we call that person what? We call that person a toddler. A toddler is from 1 to 3 years old. Okay, number 3. Now, between 3 to 12 years old, this is a much longer time, right? A much longer time. That's like 9 years, right? Or 8 years. For 3 to 12 years old, we call that person what? We call that person a child. They are a child. They know how to walk. They know how to talk, right? They are a child. Up to 12 years old. Next, the next stage, after 12, they become 13, then 14, all the way to 19. What do we call that person? We call that person, of course, a teen or teenager, as we said before. Now, after 19, they become 20 years old. So 20 years old plus. So 20 years old and after. What do we call that person? We say that that person is an adult. And remember, there's different stages of an adult. A young adult, middle-aged adult, and a senior citizen, right? Okay. Number 6 is not a stage. To get bigger and taller. To get, that means it's a verb, right? Our verb in this chart, of course, is to grow, but grow means to get bigger and taller. That's the word that we looked at. That's the definition. So grow means to get bigger and taller. By the way, we're all growing, aren't we? We're all getting bigger and taller. Even me, I'm an adult, but I'm getting bigger, right? Okay, maybe I'm not getting any taller, but I might be getting a little bit bigger. Okay, but usually we all grow, right? Of course, we all grow, especially before we're 20 years old. Some people are still growing, okay? Okay, well, that wraps it up for the vocabulary section. Let's take a short break now. We'll come back and take a look at the reading passage, so don't go away. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the reading passage. We're on lesson 6. And in lesson 6, we're talking about all grown up, right? We're talking about the different stages of a person's life. And we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stages that we're talking about in a person's life. Now, the reading passage is pretty simple. The sentences are short and easy, but let's go over them together. First sentence, people grow and change. We have 2 verbs. They grow, and as they grow, they change, right? They change, they get bigger, they get taller, right? So people are growing and they change when they grow. We eat food. So we, of course, people, we eat food. We need food to get bigger and taller, right? We eat food, we sleep. We also need to sleep. It's very important. If we don't get enough sleep, we don't have good health. We need to have sleep in order to be healthy and to grow well. So we eat food and we sleep. These 2 things we need to do to grow taller. We grow taller. And we get older. Get older. We get older. We become. Get is similar to become. We become older. But it's more common to say get. Many people use get. Get is such a common word in English. We get older. We become older. Same thing. But it's easier to use get, so many people use get. We get older. Let's review. People grow and change. We eat food. We sleep. We grow taller. We get older. So as the years go by, we get older and older. 1 to 1 year old, right? 3 years old, 3 to 12 years old, in the teens, and over 20 years old. We get older. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the different stages of a person's life. First, second, third, and fourth, and then fifth. Well, first, our first stage of the life. First, we are all babies. Babies, that's the first stage of our life. When we are born, we are babies, right? We are babies when we are born. When are we babies? When we are born. As soon as we're born, as soon as we come into the world, we are babies. And we can see many babies here, right? They're very cute. Okay, babies can't, cannot, can't walk or talk. These babies, they can't walk, they can't talk. Well, maybe they go goo goo goo, gaga, goo, 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 but we don't understand them. So we say they can't really talk, right? So they can't talk. They can't walk, right? They crawl. They don't walk. They cannot walk. They cannot talk. They can't. But they can eat and sleep. Of course, that's all that babies do, right? They eat, they sleep, but they also cry. Wah! Right? Really loud. Right? So they do a few things. They eat, they sleep, they cry. They do some other things too that kind of smell, but we won't talk about that. Okay, babies are very cute, right? We can see that babies are very cute, right? They're cute when they're not crying. They're very cute. Okay, let's review here. First, we are all babies. We are babies when we are born. Babies can't walk or talk, but they can eat and sleep. Babies are very cute, aren't they? Cute. Yeah, hello, babies. Okay, bye-bye, babies. Okay, now the next stage, the next step. Next, we are toddlers. That's the next step. Next, we are toddlers. Toddlers can walk and talk, okay? But they can walk a little bit. They can talk a little bit, but not great. And they're learning how to walk. They're learning how to talk, okay? So toddlers can walk and talk because they are learning how to do that. They can walk and talk, but toddlers do not go to school. Toddlers don't go to school. They're too young. They're still learning how to walk. They're still learning how to talk. So they don't go to school, they stay at home. They are still too young. Toddlers play all day long. What a great life, right? They get to play all day long. That's what they do. Great. Okay, so let's review here. Next, we are toddlers. Toddlers can walk and talk, but toddlers don't go to school. They are still too young. Toddlers play all day long. They play all day long. Okay? By the way, when we say too, it's negative. They're too young to go to school. They're young, yeah, but they're too young to go to school. So they don't go to school yet. Okay. What about the next stage? The next stage. Then, after toddlers, we are children. Then we are children. Then after toddlers. After we are toddlers, then we are children. Children go to school. Children go to school. These children are going to school. They have their backpacks with their books and their lunch box with their lunch. Children go to school. We learn many things. We learn a lot of things at school as children. We learn many things as children, when we are children. We learn how to ride a bike. We learn how to ride a bike. Maybe not at school, but from our mom or dad, they help us learn how to ride a bike. At school, we learn how to draw and color. So you learn how to do something. We learn how to ride a bike. We learn how to draw a picture. We learn how to go to school. We learn how to get on the bus, how to do something, okay? We learn how to walk. We learn how to talk. So we learn how to do many things. Let's review. Then we are children. Children go to school. We learn many things as children. We learn how to ride a bike. We learn how to draw and color. Color, of course, is to color in the pictures. Make it green or red or blue. Okay. After children, next we are teens. 13, 14, 15, right? These girls are all teens. They are all teenagers. Next we are teens. Teens can be tall. Yeah, some teenagers grow to be very tall, right? Some teenagers grow at different rates. Some teenagers are still short. Some teenagers grow tall very quickly. Teens can be tall. They can also be short. But we are teens in high school. Most students, all students are teens in high school. In America, teenagers or high schoolers are usually 14 to 18. 14 years old to 18 years old. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Some students start at 14, some students start at 15. But there's 4 grades in American high school. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. These are in the teen years, usually 15, 16, 17, 18. Some students start at 14. It depends. So we are teens in high school, and that's true. In high school, all the students are teenagers. Let's review. Next, we are teens. Teens can be tall. We are teens in high school. Okay. Finally, the last stage. Then we become adults. Then we become adults. Now we're adults. Your mom and dad are adults. Your mom and dad are adults, right? One day, not too long, seems like a long time, but it's not too long. One day, you will be an adult too. You will be an adult too. And then what happens when you're an adult? Maybe you'll get married. Maybe you'll have children. They will be babies. And they will grow up to be adults too. And the cycle will continue. And this is life, isn't it? So these are the stages of life. Okay, let's review. Then we become adults. Your mom and dad are adults. One day you will be an adult too. Okay, I know it's a long time. Seems like a long time, right? Enjoy. Have fun now, right? Enjoy your childhood. One day you'll be an adult, and one day you will have children of your own. Kind of crazy to think about, right? But it will happen. Okay, let's go over the reading comprehension questions. How well do you remember the reading? Always we start with number 1. This story is about. What is this story about? What is the main topic? What is the subject? Let's look at our choices. A, drawing pictures. B, growing up. C, eating food. D, walking. So if we take a look at these, A, drawing pictures. This story is about drawing pictures. Well, we talked about drawing pictures, right? Part of the passage, the reading passage, when we talked about children, right? Children go to school, they learn how to draw pictures and to color pictures. Well, that was one detail about the story, but the reading passage wasn't just about drawing pictures, it was about many more things. Drawing pictures was only one detail. It's not the main subject. So A is not correct. Okay? What about B, growing up? Well, if we think about that, growing up, when a person grows up, they start as a baby, then they become a toddler, then a child, then a teen, and then an adult, and they're all grown up. And that's what the reading passage was about. We talked about those different stages. That's all about growing up. So that is the correct answer. This story is about growing up, about the different stages of a person who grows up. Let's look at C, just for practice, eating food. They did say something about eating food, but again, that was a small detail. It's not the main subject, so that's not the answer. Walking. Yes, we talked about walking a little bit. Toddlers are learning how to walk, right? Of course, children already know how to walk. We talked about it, but again, that's just a small detail, right? So D, C, and A, those are just small details. They're not the main subject. The main subject is B, growing up, because the whole passage was about the process of growing up. Okay, so moving on to question 2. Babies can. So we talked about the different stages, right? Babies, toddlers, children, teens, and adults. And we talked a little bit about each stage. During the baby stage, do you remember what we said babies could do? Let's look at the answer choices. A, walk and talk. B, speak. C, swim. D, eat and sleep. So what can babies do? Let's go over each one in turn. A, walk and talk. Babies can walk. Can babies walk? No, they can't. We talked about that. We said that babies can crawl, right? But they can't walk yet. They don't know how. They haven't learned how to walk. And also, they haven't learned how to talk. Sure, they can say goo goo ga 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 goo like that, but we don't understand what they're saying, and it's not really talk, right? So that's not true. By the way, speak and talk are the same things, right? So obviously, if we said no here, we say no there too, because speak and talk mean the same thing. Can he talk? Can he speak? Same thing, okay? C, babies can swim. Now, maybe babies can swim, but think about the reading passage. Was there anything in the reading passage that said that babies could swim? No, we didn't read anything about babies swimming, so that is not the correct answer. There was no mention of babies swimming. How about D, eat and sleep? Yes, we saw that babies can eat and sleep. That's their main job, right? Is to eat and sleep. Of course, they also cry and they also do something else that smells bad, but the reading passage talked about babies can eat and sleep. Okay. Number 3, beep and beep, go to school. So we're looking for 2 stages of a person's life, right? When do people go to school? When do we go to school? When we're babies, when we're adults, when we're teens. We need 2 phases or 2 steps, 2 stages to fill in these blanks. What are the choices? A, adults, babies. B, babies, toddlers. C, teens, babies. And D, children, teens. So which 2 groups go to school? You probably know the answer. Let's just go over each in turn. A, adults. Do adults go to school? Well, sure, adults go to school. They go to college, but they didn't really say that in the passage, right? Of course, adults go to college, so that could be the answer, but think about babies. Do babies go to school? No, babies don't go to school, so that's not correct. Adults, yes, they go to school. We say they go to college or they go to university, even though it wasn't in the passage, but you could still say that. But babies don't, right? Babies don't go to school, so that's not the right answer. Babies, we can see right away that's not the right answer. Toddlers also don't go to school, right? They play all day. That's their job, right? They play all day. They don't go to school. Babies and toddlers, neither babies nor toddlers go to school, right? Neither one of them goes to school. C, teens and babies. Teens go to school, right? We saw in the passage, the reading passage, it said teens go to high school. All teens or all high schoolers are teenagers. That's true. But babies, again, do not go to school, right? So C is not correct. That leaves us with D, children and teens. Children and teens go to school. Is that true? Yes, that's true. I know you've been waiting for that, right? So children and teens go to school. Children, they go to elementary school, right? They start going to school in elementary school, and they go to middle school also. Teenagers go to high school and also middle school. Okay? So the answer is D. Children and teens go to school. Okay, so this unit, Lesson 6. We were talking about Lesson 6. The Lesson 6 title is How Do People Grow and Change? And we saw there are 5 different stages to a person's life. And we talked about those, especially in the reading passage. Do you remember what we call the different stages? What do we call this little guy here? We say that he is a baby, or she. This young person here, what's the next stage after a baby? This person is just learning to walk, right? We say it's a toddler. He or she is a toddler. After this person is no longer a toddler, they can walk, they can talk, they start to go to school. Then we say the person is a child. A child starts to go to school. When a child gets over the age of 12 into 13, 14, 15, what do we say about that person? Now that they're growing tall, they're growing very tall, right? In this stage, we say that they are a teen, a teen. And after the teens are over, right? 19 is the last year of the teens. Now they're 20 years or older, and men start to grow hair on their face, right? They have to shave it off, right? Women and men, they become very tall. They've finished with school, or they go to college, they go to university. What do we say? We say that they are an adults. And of course, after college, they get jobs, they get married, and they have babies of their own. And then it starts again. And this, of course, is the cycle of life. Okay, so that's what we're talking about in Unit 6. How do people grow and change? What are the different stages in a person's life? And we all go through these. We all go through these different stages in our life. So it's kind of interesting to think about. Sometimes you're doing your day-to-day, you're playing computer games, you're studying for work, you're playing with your friends. You don't think about this. But think about, where did you come from? Where are you going? It's a very interesting subject to think about. And this will help you express these ideas, of course, in English, and you know about these different stages. Well, that wraps it up for this lesson today. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.